Hey guys, and welcome back to the Movie-Club Emporium. I am Jason, and this week we are going to be talking about a movie. We're actually wrapping up our what turned out to be a pretty horrific July with the movie that I wanted to desperately see in the theaters. Did not come anywhere near me uh, after seeing the movie, knowing where I live makes sense. Uh, but nonetheless, I'm finally able to see it and talk about it with you guys. I have some thoughts. Let's get into in a violent nature. So, first of all, I guess let's go ahead and get the formalities out of the way. Uh, well, we'll save it for the end. We'll save it for the. Just remember to like and subscribe and click the notify bell. This because we do this every week here, and this week we're talking about in a violent nature. Now, again, I did not get to see this in the theater. Seeing some of the discourse online because apparently there's a movie is polarizing in the horror community. It's you look it up on Rotten Tomatoes and it is like a critical audience score is not very balanced. And so part of that I think comes from to explain this movie in its most simplest way is essentially, hey, do you like Friday the 13th part 2? What if you saw that movie from Jason's perspective? And if you say it that way, and that's your only explanation for this movie, then I think you're gonna be like, oh, so this is gonna be like a crazy slasher movie. But from Jason's point of view, like that Elijah Wood Maniac remake. No, not at all. That's not what this is. In fact, I dare say that, and I will say this as far as when the slasher parts of the movie happen, boy, they go for it. Now, I'm somebody who grew up, you know, like most people my age who talk about horror movies on the internet, grew up watching slasher movies. Fridays, the Halloweens, Freddy's. And this isn't that at all. I will say this when the and even modern day slashers, like, I know that I am in the horror world, I'm in the minority because I did not like Terrifier and I hated Terrifier 2. I know, I don't get it. But if you think about this movie and you go into this movie expecting, oh, this is a slasher from the slasher killer's POV. Absolutely not. In fact, I wouldn't even classify this as a slasher film. Honestly, this to me, and to kind of tell you how I feel about this subgenre that's kind of popped up here, kind of the first of last year. This is now my fourth foray, I believe, into this subgenre. I think it's the best. I think it's the most rewatchable. But to me, this again, it's not a slasher movie. This is a movie that's the same subgenre as stuff like Skinamarink, The Outwaters, Innisman. Again, two of those I hated. One of those I like. If you're curious to know which is which, watch. Go down to that playlist of live streams and watch our best and worst of 2023. I gotta remember to self promote. But yeah, so to me, this is one of those movies because this movie, you are not watching a slasher movie. There's a slasher movie happening, and you can follow the story of the slasher movie when our character, though that we're following, this killer, this Jason-esque figure, I believe his name is Johnny, which doesn't sound nearly as cool as Jason, if I do say so myself. Um, when his path intertwines with that story. this is a movie. Every once in a while, you get a little bit of the slasher stuff, but it's mostly, again, when this movie starts, I'm like, okay, so it's him, and we're walking because it makes sense. I mean, when one of these, you know, slasher villains, aside from Michael Myers, because we all know he can drive, um, Jason doesn't have a bus pass. We're walking all over Crystal Lake, and so what this movie is doing, like you are seeing this character, this undead killer, um, but the movie isn't focused on that. It's focused on the this beautiful, serene, almost zen like uh forest we're in. I mean, you see this beautiful area, and and the middle of the night, and at sunrise, sunset, all there's the even the poster was like this figure up against this beautiful, like, Tony Scott esque magic hour sunset, and there's no music in the movie. There's no it's the noises of the birds and the bugs and the forest itself. What you're not getting is a slasher movie. You're getting this audio visual, like, experience of this wooded area, this nature, in a violent nature. You're getting, it doesn't have to be a serial killer. It could be a bear. He could be, a coyote. It doesn't matter. Um, it's just putting you in this audio visual experience, almost ASMR like nature bubble, and then every once in a while that bubble slides into some pretty horrific stuff. Um, and so I think this is a movie more on the lines of, again, say something like Skinamarink, um, or those other two. Can you guess which one I like? 'Cause I think that's what we're doing, as opposed to, again, like a POV Jason. This isn't that. Um, I really enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was fantastic. But even watching it when it first starts, we get that first bit of him walking, and you're just watching him walk. And I know it's been memed to death, but I was like, okay, I get it. I can see why, if you go in with certain expectations, you're gonna be horribly disappointed, because it's just this dude walking. We walk until something happens, and then we walk some more. Again, when you do get the slasher elements of the movie, there's one uh moment in particular involving yoga. Whoa, absolutely wild. Um, but again, it was just, this is not what I was expecting, and I think not what a lot of people were expecting. I think that put a lot of people off on it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. Um, I guess my only critique is at the end, we kind of change into something else. Like the last 20 minutes of the movie, where it feels like, okay, we've ridden this out, but we need to hit that 90-minute mark. So let's do this, because the not the very end, the very last shot of the movie I thought was great. Yeah, but there's like the last 15 minutes, it's just kind of like, it feels like we're stalling for time. Like you're kind of waiting for something that doesn't happen. And meanwhile, even waiting for it to happen, I'm like, I feel like that would kind of ruin what we've done. But yeah, so just it feels like we had to stretch this bad boy to 90 minutes. So that it doesn't quite flow as well as it should into the ending of the movie. But other than that, even by the time you get to it, I'm so into what we're doing. Like, I kind of forgive it, but just so you know, like, that was the one part where I was just like, "Oh, okay, then now it just seems like we're stalling for time." But no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So, I recommend checking out In a Violent Nature. It's the Shudder original, so I'm sure it's gonna be on Shudder, I think maybe starting next month. Definitely a fun watch if you know what you're going into. Again, this is not that Maniac remake or something like, years ago they talked about a found footage Jason Crystal Lake movie, which they sounds kinda awesome. Could also be quite terrible, but it's not that. This isn't that type of movie. This is a movie that is supposed to put you somewhere through the audio visual storytelling and just the sounds and the feelings of things like that. Again, think movies like Skinamarink or The Outwaters as opposed to, any slasher movie that you might love. But no, I enjoyed it. So check out that movie. Um, thank you. If you did in fact join us. Nope. It'll be next week. Next weekend. Next weekend is going to be our July live stream. Look, we're entering the dog days of summer. And so for July, Nick and I are talking about Animals from Hell. And here's two things. Number one, Dog Days of Summer, Animals from Hell. That joke slaps. We're both dads. We can make that joke. Number two, this is picked by one of you. Somebody commented on one of our live streams. Uh, the replays, that I put up on here, you know, after we've done them live, and said, "Hey, man, you guys should totally do a Blank from Hell live stream." And so we kind of looked at what we had planned and said, "Okay, we've covered this kind of topic. We covered this. Let's do animals. So we're doing Animals from Hell, animal attack movies." So if you have a topic you want to discuss or you want to discuss with us, hey man, put it down below. It's the easiest way to get it to us, and trust me, we'll take every suggestion we can get. So with that being said, as we get past all the animals, we head into August. Um, that live stream, August, just so you know, if you've stayed this long, thank you. So you get a little treat. That treat is, uh, next August live stream, we're doing back to school. So we're talking uh school related horror, sci-fi, and action movies. You're not gonna want to miss that at all. But before we go back to school, uh we're gonna have one last fun, awesome summer vacation because all of the month of August is our summer block party. And this year we are going international because we are having a Italian summer vacation. So the entire month of August, we're going to be talking about wild, weird, and bizarre Italian horror movies. I'm talking uh Unseen Argento. I'm talking one of the wildest movies I've seen in forever. We've got Lovecraftian Devils, and we've got what is essentially Evil Dead in a movie theater. So you are not gonna want to miss us talking about these crazy horror flicks. Uh, from the beautiful boot of Italy. So make sure you're here every Sunday. Again, every Sunday. The best way to remember, that's a lot of info just thrown at you. I apologize. The best way to remember that is to like and subscribe. Click the notify bell. See, I'm getting better at this. I'm learning how this all works. Um, because then you'll never miss the video. Next week, as a matter of fact, again, a lot of info coming at you. Best way to remember is to click that bell. Is in your hand. You see, next week, we're going to see two movies in the theater as we wrap up July. Uh, because I live where I live in Oklahoma, I am legally obligated to watch Twisters, and Deadpool and Wolverine will be my first comic book movie since Thor: Love and Thunder, where I took a comic book movies and I took a conscious uncoupling. So this is my first time back. This is my rebound movie. So in the comments below, let me know which one should be our review. Should we talk about Twisters, or should we talk about Deadpool and Wolverine? Leave your opinions, your choice down below, and whichever one wins, that's the one we're going to talk about. So until then, um, again, I don't know how many movies, both horror, non-horror, slashers, whatever. Now's the best time to remember it because it's hot and gross outside. Stay inside. Stay out of the woods. You don't belong there. I don't belong there. Let's just stay out of the woods. And that way you avoid being the main character in your own slasher movie. That doesn't sound fun. But until next week, where you decide what we're talking about, I will see you guys at the movies. Whatever. Outros, don't need them. Bye.